There you go. We're live now. I'll make you the host and please make me a co-host, okay?
All right, we'll do that. There you go.
Thank you. I'll be staying the whole time, so just call my attention if you need anything, okay?
All right, great. Thanks, Phil. Hey, Gary. Can you hear me? Oh. Hi, Mary.
I'm on now. How are you doing?
There's Gary. Hey, how Marianne? How are you? Oh, you're muted, Marianne. But... Hope everybody's having a good afternoon.
Not bad.
Hello.
Hi, Marlene.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I am good. And you?
Oh, I am great. Thanks for asking.
Very good.
Hi, Mary. Haven't seen you in a long time. Welcome
I
back.
know. It's been what, 2 hours?
Nice long lunch break.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, thanks for coming back. Let's see. I've still got one more class to go. This is my late day. So we've got several other people that hopefully are going to be joining us. So we're going to hang around just a couple of minutes to give them a chance to get here. Just check in with people where everybody's coming in from. Marianne, where are you calling in from? Up in
Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Okay.
Yes.
Marlene?
Florida, South Florida.
South Florida. I thought you were from Florida. Okay. Mary, where are you?
I'm North Florida.
North Florida. Okay.
I'm in Gainesville.
All right.
I'm in Western.
Okay.
Oh, I know where Western is. Yeah.
Yes.
Florida's going to have the head count today. Gary, where are you from?
Little town called Veneta, Oregon.
Oregon. All
Oh,
right.
I love the Pacific
That's
Northwest.
a beautiful state. It is.
Mhm.
Hi, Helen. Are you there?
Yep, just ran back from Costco. Yeah, hi.
Glad you made it back on time.
Yep,
We're just
Our
checking in where
second
everybody's
home.
from. Where are you calling in from, Helen?
Morgan Hill, California.
California. Okay, all right. We got
Yeah.
both coasts anchored and several points in the middle. So that's good. We got a good representation. Let's see. We're going to have I'm hoping 2 or 3 more, but just about everybody's here. So I'm going to start getting my technology set up. That always takes a couple of minutes so we can get started on time. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Move your pictures. I know most of you have this routine down as well as I do. Right, there you are. And I'm going to leave everyone unmuted since we're going to have a fairly small group. But if we do start picking up background noise or echoes, I'll mute everyone. So don't forget to check and make sure you're unmuted before you ask a question or make a comment. And we'll also open up the chat. And that is now open. So if anyone's having trouble with their microphone or needs to contact us via the chat for any reason, Phil is here from our TA group. So he's going to be helping me manage the chat and manage the class in general. If you have any technical issues or other questions, you can reach out to him in the chat. Phil, thanks for joining us and helping out. Always appreciate your help. And let's see, it's like Jane has come in. Jane, can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay, welcome. Where are you calling in from?
Florida.
Florida. Oh, 3 from Florida. Okay, Florida's going to sweep us today. This is a,
Whereabouts in Florida, Jane?
Broward County.
Ah, you're south.
all right. And so we normally, I used to wait the first 4 to 5 minutes of the class to give people a chance to get logged in and technology working. I think everybody's technology is working. We may have another person or two join us, but I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is called iPhone Personal Safety Features because most of the things we're going to talk about have some implications for personal physical safety as opposed to protection of your data is the other type of safety. We have a different class that talks about that. But do want to thank you for joining the class. Hope you enjoyed it. My name is Wade Yarber, and I'll be your guide for the class today. I'm from a small town called Mason, Tennessee. It is just outside of Memphis. I told some people before I went 8 years of school in a 5-room schoolhouse, 4 classrooms with 2 grades per class and a lunchroom. So it was a small town, but it was an interesting place to grow up. I have my degree in experimental psychology, not counseling psychology, so I don't psychoanalyze anyone. But I actually also have a degree a secondary degree in computer science. So I've done a lot of computer science work. Most of my career was designing, installing, and training users how to use hospital information systems. So I've done a lot of adult education as well. And what I love about teaching Get Set Up is I'm teaching people that want to be in the class, not people that were forced to be in the class. See, Dolores has joined us. Hi, Dolores. At Get Set Up, we try to create that type of an environment where you can take classes you're interested in along with other people that are interested in that same topic. And you can hear each other's questions, interact with each other, interact with the guide. That's a big part of what Get Set Up is and tries to do, a nice, safe environment where you can interact with other people and learn topics. That's one of the reasons we do ask people to turn their cameras on if they're okay with that. It makes it feel a little more comfortable and interactive, but is obviously not a requirement. We are recording the class, and any participant can request a copy of the recording by emailing help@getsetup.io. I'm going to put that in the chat as well in case, and Phil beat me to it. So you got 2 choices there, but if you don't have that, copy and paste it into your email contacts. We're also live streaming the class today. So I do want to welcome anyone joining us via live stream. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy the class as well. But the only way to get that full Get Set Up experience where you can interact with the other learners and talk with the guide is to go to our website and register for the class. And finally, Get Set Up is not paid to promote any of the products that we train on. Okay, so let's talk about the agenda for today. We're going to talk about a number of iPhone features. First, we'll talk about how to complete and how to access your medical ID, if you don't know what that is already, how to find your lost phone and erase it if necessary, how to share your location with other people, several different ways, a number of security issues around that. And then we'll throw in some other various tips and tricks, time permitting, as well. So let's get started. We're going to start with the medical ID. Let me move my slides in a little bit so you can see my iPhone. If anyone is having trouble seeing my full iPhone, let me know if you've got pictures in the way. We can help you move those around. But we're going to start with the medical ID. And if you want to start finding it while I'm talking about it, it looks like this. A white background with a red heart. It has health in the name of it. The medical ID is in the health app. And you can create an emergency medical ID. It contains information such as your medical conditions, allergies, medications. And the scenario this is designed for is that, heaven forbid, something happens to you. You're out walking down the street and you pass out and you're unconscious on the street and need help. This is information that you're putting in your phone so that those first responders and good Samaritans that are trying to help you will have information that's necessary to give you the best care possible. So this is helping you help them. They can get to that information even if it's locked. And there's an option that I'll show you on the phone where you can actually have that medical ID information sent automatically to emergency services. It'll be sent through an encrypted service by iPhone. So it'll access the information and forward it to the emergency services. When you call or text 911 or use the emergency SOS from your phone. So let's start with entering the information into your medical ID if you haven't already done that. So hopefully, has everybody found anyone that hasn't found the health ID? If you haven't, I've got a trick to help you find it. I'll show you that trick before the day's out.
I'm looking for it.
Okay, great. That always good. Give me a chance to show you my trick. So watch my screen. Watch my screen. I'm going to put my finger on the screen, not on an app, but somewhere else, and start to slide down. And you'll notice my screen starts to get fuzzy. And then it drops into Siri suggestions and a search bar up here. In that search bar, just type HE for health. And if you haven't deleted it from your phone, it will pop up. So this searches all the apps on your phone.
Yeah, I think I've deleted it. So what's your next suggestion?
Yeah, you
Nope,
may
never
want to
mind,
wait
it
till
came
after
up.
class. Just go to the App Store and download it again.
Okay.
Yep. So if you want to just watch what we're doing, this is something you can do after class. I'll explain what the fields are and why you may want to do it. Then you can just download it and do that after class. And if you miss a step, you can always get the recording and watch it again. But it's pretty straightforward. So we're going to go into the health app. So we're going to open that. A couple of tricky things at the start. You want to touch your initials up here, the circle with your initials on it. And your medical ID is going to be right there, the second item in the list. I'm going to touch this. And depending on what phone you've got, as always, thank you, Apple, some of the things may be slightly different, but hopefully you'll see something that looks like this. And we want to touch the edit because there's some things you can, so this is where you can see the information, but there's some things we want to set as well. So we're going to go into edit. And that opens up where I can edit the fields in the medical ID. So let me kind of go over the different things you can enter and talk about why you may want to put them in here. Your name, obviously. Picture, what Apple says is that there's a very slim but not zero possibility that for some reason they've got the wrong phone. It's not your phone and they're taking care of you with the wrong information. So it's putting in your picture. They can check the picture versus the person laying there unconscious to make sure they've got the right information. Date of birth gives them your age, which is useful for dosing medications and generally taking care of you. Medical conditions, I usually tell people, this is not like going to your primary care physician. You don't need to list every medical condition. There's probably no harm in it, but what you definitely want to do is list things that would be important if they're taking care of you in an emergency situation, you're unconscious, things you would tell them if you could, but you can't. So that's where you list your medical conditions. This medical notes is just kind of a free text field you can use for anything. I use it to put my primary care physician's name and phone number because he knows more about me than anyone else. And they can get to at least his office where they could pull my charts if they can't get to him personally. You can put other information in here that you want that's not stored anywhere else. Allergies and allergic reactions, very important to put in there, especially things like penicillin or other medications they might give you. Medications you're taking And again, don't necessarily have to list everything. I take vitamin C and vitamin D. I don't put that in there because that probably doesn't make a difference. But if you're taking a medication that there's interactions common with other medications, be sure and list those here. Blood type, obvious. Height and weight, again, is for dosing. Knowing your height and weight is important to get the right dose of some of the medications they may need to give you. And then you can list your emergency contacts. These are the people that they'll call to let them know that Wade's had an accident and we're taking him to this hospital. I've got my wife and my brother. You can add additional ones. I'm not sure what the maximum is. You can do at least 3 because I've got 2 and it's letting me add another one. And then there's a couple of other settings down here. Show when locked. I think that should always be on because more likely than not, your phone will be locked if something like this happens. You've been walking along and it's timed out and shut off. So you want the first responder or whoever is trying to help you to be able to get this information even when your phone is locked, but Apple gives you the choice. And share during emergency call. So this is where it can, you're allowing Apple to share your information electronically, send that information to the emergency services digitally, as opposed to having to relay it verbally. Again, this is your choice. If you're uncomfortable with your information being sent out to Apple and through to another source, it is supposedly encrypted, but that's why they give you the choice here. Questions about anything in here or how it all works? I think I talked about all of this.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
All right, let's flip sides then. I'm going to cancel out here and just go back to my homepage and show you how someone can get to that information to help you. Or maybe you're that good Samaritan that's walking down the street and you see someone that's passed out, has hit their head and bleeding, and so you want to get help for that person. Now this depends on what phone you've got. If you're on an iPhone 8 or newer, which is what I have, you press and hold the volume button, either one of the 2 volume buttons and the side button at the same time. Let me demo that for you so you can see what's going to happen first. So I'm going to hold those 2 buttons for about a second or 2. And it actually vibrates. And then this screen pops up. A couple of things I can do from here. I can cancel if I did this by accident or turn my phone off. But here's the 2 that are appropriate to what we're talking about. Let's say I am a physician that happened to come across the person. So I can just go ahead and slide this over and take a look at their medical ID myself and read through the information. And these are now linked so they could touch that to make those phone calls. I'm going to click done and come back out of this. And hang on, I'm going to hold the buttons again and come into that again. This is that emergency SOS we talked about. So if in this case, I'm me, I don't have any training as a first responder, but I want to get help, I could just slide this over. That will call emergency services, transfer the information on the phone to them so they've got all that information there. I have mine set up that way because I trust transmitting that digitally more than I would somebody reading the information. They may misread something. But those are the 2 things that can be done from this screen. Now, what will happen when you slide this over? It'll start a countdown. I think it starts at 5. I'm not sure. I've never tested it because I don't want to accidentally call emergency services, but it'll count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it'll place the call. Gives you time to cancel if you did it by accident. If you're on a 7 or older, you have to press the side button, the on-off button on the right-hand side 5 times fairly rapidly. And in most cases, it doesn't show the screen. I had somebody test it and they were, I think, maybe on a 7 and it did show this screen. It may depend on the operating system you're on. So there's lots of combinations and permutations of iPhones floating around out there. So you may or may not get this phone, but it will do the countdown and contact emergency medical services. So that's one way that people can get to the information, or you could get to the information for someone you're trying to help. I'm going to cancel out of here and show you the other way, which I think is actually easier. Because when you open someone's phone, you come here to the passcode screen where you either enter the passcode and you can't see the number pad, but I can see the number pad. Or if you got Touch ID or Face ID, you would touch that to open the phone, get it out of the locked position. Down here in the bottom left, you probably never noticed it, but there's the word emergency. Oops. I'm going to touch emergency down there. And it brings me to this screen. So for any iPhone, you can touch that, and now I could manually place a 911 call or place any type of call I needed to. 911 in most cases is what I'd probably call. But then I can touch medical ID down here and get access to that information. So if I'm on the phone with 911 operator, I can read this information off. Questions about how this all works? And one thing I forgot to mention, if you do the emergency medical services option, the emergency SOS, it actually does send a text to your contacts automatically to let them know. Again.
Wade,
Uh-huh.
I did that accidentally one time and it texted immediately.
It did it?
And the 911 operator called my phone to ascertain the emergency. It was very embarrassing because I was in a large group at the time.
Oh, yeah.
They're very quick.
Yeah, I think they've got that now, because one thing about doing the pressing and holding is that you can do that and it able to automatically start that countdown. And so if for some reason you can't talk, maybe something's you happen to your throat and you can't talk, or you're in a situation where you can't talk for whatever reason, it'll still call emergency services. So. Okay, if there's no questions there, let's move on. Oops, and I think I may have just lost my phone. Let me see, I hope I didn't. I did, I wasn't paying attention. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna have to restart my viewing program so you can see my phone. It will just take a second here. When there it is. Okay, we're back. All right. So we're going to talk about sharing your location next. And in order to do that, you have to enable it in your settings. I'm going to show you how to enable it. If you're at all hesitant about sharing your location, you may want to watch what I'm doing first. But if you don't enable it, you won't be able to follow along with me. You could also go back later and turn it off. But we're going to go into settings again. And here we're going to tap your name. And then click Find My. And it's the third item down there in the list, just barely off the bottom of the screen. And there's a couple of different settings we need to do. First, we're going to click on the Find My iPhone up here. And you can see without clicking on it if it's on or off. But if it's already saying on, you're good. If it's off, you'll need to come into here and turn it on. And I'll show you later how to find your phone. The other setting you need to turn on is Share My Location right here if it's not turned on. Those are the two things we're going to talk about: sharing locations and finding your phone. I'm going to go out of there. And there's a couple of different ways to share your location. The first one I'm going to show you is by using the Find My app. And so if you, and I don't have it on my screen, but I'm just going to come here, use my trick and do Find My. This is what it looks like. It's green. So if yours, you can find yours on your home screen, click it there. If not, do what I did, slide your finger down, come to the search, type FI, and you'll get to it there. And this one, again, I know looks slightly different, especially on, I think, the 12 and maybe the 11. So a little difference. It works the same way, but the screen may look a little different. Let me show you how this works first on my screen. So it should say people, and you may not have anybody in your people list. So these are people that I'm sharing my location with, and they're sharing their location with me. So this is my wife. So if I want to know where my wife is, I can come here and touch her name here, and it will show me on the GPS where her phone is. I'm assuming she's with her phone. You can go in and scroll out and get a closer look, or you can scroll out further so you can get context of where they are. We do this, I share with her, she shares with me. We both think it's a nice safety factor, because if maybe she's gone to the store, said she'd be back at 3 o'clock and it's 3:15 and she's not back. I've called her, she didn't answer. I texted her, she didn't answer. I'm getting worried, so I can come here and see where she is. If you watch, you can actually see if she is in the car moving. You'll see it moving down the street. So I can say, okay, she's on her way home. She's just running late. Not sure why she didn't answer her phone, but everything looks okay. Whereas if she's somewhere along the way and not moving, then I know where she is at least. And I can go and get and either call someone to go there, or I can go there myself to check on her and see what's going on. I can just click right here to get directions, because it's in the GPS at this point. The other thing you can do from here is if you scroll down, let's say I want to stop sharing my location with this person, I can do that from here. Or maybe I don't want to see her location anymore. We've had a fight and we're not friends anymore, so I can remove her from my list of people. Questions about how that part works? Now, if I want to share my location with her, I can click here. And this is where you can share your location with other people. So I can pick who I want to share my location with. I'm already sharing with my wife. I'll pick Nancy. One thing I'll show you, I'm going to start typing. I'm just going to type a letter. And you'll see Darlene is blue. Tanya is not blue. In order to do this, they have to have an iPhone. So this tells me Darlene has an iPhone. I can share my location with Darlene. Tanya has an Android. I can't share my location with her. So that's why some are blue, some are not. You can only share with people that happen to have an iPhone. But my dad does. So I'll pick my dad. So you can pick multiple people. Let me give you a scenario here for sharing locations, and let me click the send, and it's going to make more sense. So I can pick however many people I want to share with. And when I touch send, it brings up an option of how long I want to share, an hour, until the end of the day, or indefinitely. So my wife and I are sharing indefinitely, but maybe Nancy and my dad and I are going to the park and we're going to be walking, but we're going to be walking separately down the paths. So we want to be able to keep track of each other. So I may just want to share for an hour while we're taking a hike. Another scenario, maybe I'm going to go over to Helen's house, but the weather is really bad. So I call Helen and say, Helen, I'm coming over to your house, but the weather's bad. I'm going to share my location with you. So, watch my location. And if I stop, send somebody to get me because I've run off the road or something has happened. So that's another safety scenario. So you can have somebody watch where you are, or you can look after each other if you're out somewhere, you're walking in a park or someplace like that. I'm not going to send, but then I would hit, if you touch any one of these, it will send that to those people. They would have to accept and share back. So you can't just go and follow somebody without them agreeing to. But if they accept, then we would be sharing both directions. Questions? Okay. All right, I'm going to cancel out of that then and show you another way to share. And that's by using, while I'm here, before I leave, there's a couple of tabs and one of them is new. You can find your devices here. I'm going to show you another way to do that. But this is something that's new. You can actually put tags on items and find your items. So if you put a tag on your bicycle and somebody steals your bicycle, you can actually go here and find out where your bicycle is. So these are tags that you can stick on items, and this is how you can track those as well. Outside of this course, because I don't have one yet, but that's what those are. So let's talk about another way to share your location, though. This time it's through iMessages. So I'm going to come down here and click it just like I was going to send that person a message. But instead of typing a message down here, I'm going to touch their name up at the top center. It gives me three options. I can call them. I can start a FaceTime with them. But I also have an info button. I'm going to click the info button. Come on, there we go. So I've got that same share my location I showed you before. I could do the same things here that I could do before, but it has an additional option, which is send my current location. So this is a little different. This is, you're going to text the location where you are at that point in time. It's not going to track you after the fact. So and the scenario I usually hear is that I'm out driving out of town on a country road and my car stops dead and I can't get it to start. So I want to have my mechanic come out and see if he can start it. And if he can't, tow my car in. So I can send a text to him and do send my current location. It'll send the location of where I am, which is where my car is. And I could have my wife come pick me up and I could go back home, but he would still know where my car is to start or tow back home. And other scenarios you can probably come up with where you are somewhere and need help. So you want to just send a text to somebody to show them where you are. I'm going to show you what that looks like from the recipient side. I did this from my wife's phone right before class. So I went to her phone and did this to me. She shared her location with me. So this is what it looks like on my phone. So I can touch that and it'll bring up GPS. I can get directions. She was in the other room, so it's a 2-minute walk away. But if she had been somewhere else, I would have where she was when she sent that text to me. And I think hopefully you can come up with lots of safety and security reasons why it's good to know how to let somebody know where you are if you need them to come find you or come get your car. Questions on that one? Okay. If not, let's keep going. We've got more. The next thing we're going to talk about, we've been finding people, we're going to talk about finding your phone, which is kind of nice to be able to do sometimes. We lose our phones. So I've lost my phone. I can't find it. If my wife was here, I'd get her phone and call it, but she's not here. So she's gone for 3 days. So I need to find my phone. What I'm going to do is slide this down where I can get to it. Oops. Didn't want to do that. just a second. I'm having a bad technology day here. Can everybody still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so good. I haven't lost anything. I'm gonna stop sharing here and restart just a second. Get this back where it needs to be. Okay. Now I think we're back. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So this, I still can't get this to go up or out of the way, but we'll deal with that later. Okay, so we're going to locate our device. So now I can grab this and get to this plus, which is where I was trying to get, because I need to go to iCloud. There we go. Get this thing working. Thank you. Get out of the way. And perfect. So I'm going to go to iCloud. Some of you probably know what iCloud is. Some of you don't. There's a class on iCloud. If you don't, we're going to just go into one aspect of iCloud. I need to sign in. So I need to go to my password vault. If you don't know about password vaults, we got a class on that as well. So it will enter my username and password for me. And I will open the password, the iCloud. And part of iCloud is find my iPhone. So I'm going to click here. And it brings me to find my phone. You can actually find more than your phone. You can have multiple devices. So this will show you all of your devices if you have an iPad and maybe even a Mac. In this case, I only have one Apple device. It's my iPhone. So I'll pick my iPhone. And it brings me to this screen and it shows me where my phone is. And you can, again, drill in, get closer, maybe a little hard to see, but you can actually see the outline of the houses. That's my neighbor's house. This is my house. It shows me where I am in my house, and this is accurate probably to within about 6 feet of where I really am. It's pretty close enough that I could probably hear it. So I can click here and say play sound, and it will start playing a sound so I can find it, because at least I know which room in the house it is. Maybe when I did this, it shows me that my phone is out here in the front yard by the road. I was out trimming the shrubs or whatever, and it fell out of my pocket. But again, I know roughly within about a 6-foot radius where it is. Again, I would say play sound and then go outside and wander around in the front yard till I heard it and get my phone. Those are good scenarios. Now, maybe less good scenarios. When I scroll out, I see that it is up here. And maybe where I was at the hardware store earlier, and it's about 30 miles away. So I do know I was there. So I figure, okay, it fell out of my pocket in the store or getting into the car. But it's not close to me. I can't get there quickly. So I'm a little concerned about somebody finding it before I do. I've got a couple of options. There's something called lost mode and something called erase iPhone. The other option I'll mention, then we'll go talk about these two options, is that it is moving, but it's moving away from me down the highway, which means somebody's got my phone and is going somewhere with it. So let me go back to my slides and let's talk about those two options. So lost mode, and there's instructions on the screen to walk you through this, but you can remotely lock your device with the passcode. You should be doing that already, but you may not. It's not a requirement. So if you're not locking your phone, lock your phone, add a passcode. So if somebody can't unlock it, you can display a message on your phone. So if somebody does find your phone, it'll have a message on there saying lost phone, call, and then give them a number to call if they find it. Your spouse's number, your landline, your neighbor's phone, so that if a Good Samaritan does find it and wanting to return it to you, they can get in touch with you and you can arrange to pick up your phone. You can disable Apple Pay. So if somebody does get into your phone, they can't start buying stuff. And it's also a good idea, especially if you don't think you're going to get it pretty quickly, is to call your cell provider and tell them to forward all your calls and texts to another cell phone number. Again, that way, if somebody is trying to get in touch with you, somebody will get it. More importantly, if somebody's got your phone and they're trying to change your password so they can get into your accounts, that usually works by the person sending you an SMS text that you key in. So if they can get those text messages, they can get into any of your accounts. This keeps them from being able to get those text messages. Questions about lost mode? Yeah.
Where you say Apple Pay is disabled, so that's the whole Apple Wallet.
Yes.
So is that automatic, or do we?
I think that's an option. So it takes you through some things you can do. Do you want to lock your device? Yes or no? Next, and then you say, do you want to add a message? And you say yes. If you do add the message, then do you want to disable Apple Pay? So I think these are all things you have to do when you click this option here.
Options. Okay. So my question on Apple Pay then, if it's, if I pick the option to lock it, that means my credit cards and everything, ATM cards in the Apple Wallet are not accessible.
I don't know about wallet. I know it's Apple Pay itself, where you can buy things and use Apple Pay. It turns that off. I'm not sure about wallet, how that would be affected.
Okay.
And
so
luckily,
Apple Pay
I've never had to use it.
Okay. No, I just was wondering because if it automatically locked the wallet, then I wouldn't have to, cancel cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I just don't know. I'm not even going to speculate about it.
Okay,
I can check. Yeah, I'll try and check that because that's a good question. I never thought about it. So if I can find an answer quickly, I'll put it in the email that comes in after class.
Okay, because I'm slowly putting more and more stuff into Apple Wallet, so I don't have to carry the physical cards. Yeah.
Okay, good question.
Thank you.
Hasn't come up before, but it's one I need the answer to. So I will see if I can get an answer to that one and put it in the notes.
You.
And of course, the last one is, it's been now a while and you can't find it and you see it's still going down the road. I got to the hardware store and it wasn't there. And I've got somebody at home looking on my computer, tracking it, and they can tell me that it's moving away. Whatever, I give up. I just want to erase the phone and start over. And of course, if I'm using the backup in iCloud, I can get another phone and download everything. Or if my phone does show up later, I can put everything back on it. So it's probably the last thing you want to do, but it's not like it's a huge thing, especially if you've got your phone backed up somewhere already. If you haven't backed up your phone, it's a little more catastrophic to erase it. But it's still better than somebody getting access to all your stuff. Other questions on finding phone and dealing with it if you don't think you're going to find it? Luckily, I've never had to get beyond the play sound, even though I've done that several times, I have to admit. Okay, I think we got one.
Will your phone interface with Alexa?
Well, you can use your phone with Alexa. You can have the app installed on, but and she's talking now.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about. There is a feature in Alexa which is Find My Phone as well. So yeah, that's an option. If you have your phone number in Alexa, you can say, Alexa, find my phone, and she will do the sound. She'll play a sound on your phone to help you find it.
She rings it. Well, yeah. I have an Android. I'm going to be getting a iPhone hence my taking these classes.
Ah,
To
okay.
learn about it prior, so I'll have to probably retake them. But with
Yeah.
my Android, she calls the number.
Yeah, she will do the same thing. Now, with our Alexas, my wife and I use her account because we just use a single Amazon account instead of doing the 2-account thing, which gets pretty crazy. So you can only store one number. So if you say, find my phone, it's going to call her phone, not my phone. So I don't know of a way to have Alexa store more than 2 numbers easily. So that's the reason I use this instead of Alexa when I can't find my phone.
Mhm.
Yeah, but she uses Alexa if she loses hers. Yeah. Okay, all right. So let me go to the last item. I think we're just about done here. Yeah. So if you attended my iPhone Basics class, we talked about Do Not Disturb. And if you didn't, let me kind of set the context here, and then I'll explain what we're going to do. Let me go into settings. We can move this over a little bit closer. And Do Not Disturb is right here at the bottom. I'll slide it up. And what Do Not Disturb does is it turns off the ringer and it stops notifications if you're going into a meeting or a get set up class and you don't want your phone to go off. When it's green, it means Do Not Disturb is enabled. So right now, no one can call my phone. And if somebody texts me, I don't get that little ding. And there's lots of other settings here we talk about in the other class. But one other thing you can do is that if there's certain people that you want to always bypass Do Not Disturb, you can set that up on an individual person basis. And that's called emergency bypass. So I'll show you how to set up emergency bypass. I have it set up so that my dad, who is 92, anytime he calls, I want his calls to come through. He doesn't usually call me unless it's really important. And my wife, because she knows when I'm teaching a class, so she won't call either unless it's really important. So to get to that, you need to get to the contacts. And you can either click the contact app if it's there on your phone. I just use my phone and get to it that way. If you click phone, you can click contacts at the bottom, get you to the same place. And so you go to the contact that you want to bypass Do Not Disturb. So I'm going to search. In this case, you could scroll through and find my wife. So I'm going to click there, and that's going to open her contact card. I'm going to pause here if people are trying to follow along. If I'm going too fast, holler, because from here it gets a little cryptic. So this is, her contact card, and you're going to scroll down just a little bit, past. Oh, actually, and I think it works either way on my phone. I think on the newer phones you have to hit the edit. So let's hit the edit next, just to. Because we're going to need to change the setting. You're going to need to change the setting anyway. So hit edit. But again, you scroll down just a little way. You go past the phone number. You go past the email. And we want to get down here to where it says ringtone. And this is kind of confusing because I'm trying to do emergency bypass of Do Not Disturb. And I wouldn't think that I'd be going to ringtone. It makes a little bit of sense because you're trying to turn the ringtone off. But regardless, that's where we need to go. So I'm going to touch ringtone. And if you go all the way to the top, there's emergency bypass. So if you slide that over to where it's green, this person, and it says here, emergency bypass allows sounds and vibrations from this person, even when the ring switch is set to silent or when Do Not Disturb is on. The ring switch is that switch in the upper left of your phone right here. You can also turn your ringer off there. Emergency bypass bypasses that as well. So pretty much anybody you do emergency bypass on, their text and calls will come through. While we're here, another trick you can use that I've done as well is that you can give those people a different ringtone. In fact, I have a different one for my wife. I have one for my wife, one for my dad, and one for everybody else. So when my phone rings without ever looking at it, I know if it's my wife or my dad. everybody else, I need to look and see who it is. So to do that, you just come down here and pick a different ringtone for that person. Not part of the bypass, but as long as we're here, another little tip and trick. Questions on that one?
How do you get the different ringtone again?
Yeah, just keep scrolling down to where it gets to ringtones. And then if you want to change it, you can just touch the one you want to use. I'm going to touch Silk and it'll play it.
Oh, you change it right from that screen where you edit. Okay.
Yep.
Thank
So you
you.
just touch the one and it'll play a little sample and you pick one that you want.
Okay.
And then when you're done, just hit done. And then I'll done again from here and you're out.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sure. All right, we are almost out of time. I think that was the last slide. Any last questions? Anything I went over too quickly you need to see again, or?
No, this is very helpful for me to, I started coming to the classes to determine whether I did want to get an iPhone. And everything that I've seen so far really is really much better than the Android.
I have to admit, I was a Samsung user forever until this is the first one that I've gotten. This was, I think I got this 4 years ago. And I do like the iPhone. I don't think I'll go back to Android, even though my wife made me change. She wanted an Apple, and we always get the same kind of phone because it's easier if we get the same kind of phone. So she had to kind of browbeat me to get me to switch off from Samsung and go to Apple. But now I wouldn't go back. I do like the Apple better as well. Okay. All right. So if there's no questions, it is time to kind of go to the closing. So let's go ahead and
Apple. Where did you purchase it?
Mine, I bought it at the Verizon store. So I'm using Verizon as my cell carrier. So we just got them at the Verizon store. They were actually running a special when we got them.
Ooh.
Yeah. And they do run specials off and on. So if you're thinking about upgrading your phone or switching, watch for specials. So let's go ahead and wrap up then. Again, I do want to thank you for attending. Hope you enjoyed the class and learned some tips and tricks as well as some safety features here that you didn't know. A couple of other related classes is the iPhone Basics class, which is the first iPhone class. And then there's another iPhone class, which is just iPhone tips and tricks. There's no particular theme there. It's just some other things that I think are fun. So that's iPhone tips and tricks. A related class as well as Introduction to Smart Homes, which I think I'm teaching later today, but is another fun technology class. So I'm going to, and I forgot to do something here. So we're going to go ahead and let me go off screen here for a second. And I lost my phone. I lost a part of what I need. Come back over here and just do this very quickly. Sorry for all the extra machinations here. Okay, so after class, you'll get an email, and the email will have several sections, but the first section is class notes, and it's going to have links to several websites, which will have more information about some of the things we talked about today. I think there's one about that emergency services and some of the other things we've talked about if you want to dig a little deeper into them. I'll also put links to those two related classes in the class notes section of the email. So if you're interested in taking one of those classes, you can just click on that link right from the email and sign up for those related classes. You can also recommend the class via Facebook or email. There'll be links to 3 other classes that you might be interested in. And if you are, you can click on those links and sign up for those classes as well with just one click. To give feedback, opens our feedback form. Very quick, 2 questions. How do you want to rate the class? 1 to 5 stars. How do you want to rate the guide? 1 to 5 stars, and hit done. We certainly appreciate your feedback. Hopefully you're enjoying being part of the Get Set Up community. And if you are, there's ways you can get more involved. We are trying to get some interest groups going in the tech side. I know there are a lot of interest groups in some of the other areas. And I think an iPhone interest group would be a great one to get started, where you can get together periodically with other people that have an iPhone, share tips and tricks, bring up problems you're having to see if other people have had the same problem and figured out a way around it. So if you're interested in being part of that group or even hosting that group for us, just send us an email at help@getsetup.io and we will get in touch with you about getting that going. If there's a class you'd like us to offer, or if you know of a group that you think would be a good partner for us, or if you want a copy of the recording, help@getsetup.io is the one email address you need for any of those types of communications. The last link is View Schedule, which takes you to our website where you can book another class. And we're almost out of time. I'll show you just a couple of things very quickly that if you haven't found them, the way I always find classes is you can go via schedule and look at what's on the schedule for each day. You can actually go out and check a different day. If you're looking for classes next Monday, you can click here and you can scroll through all the classes chronologically by day. You can also search by class type. If you click classes, you can filter by new classes, things that we just recently released, or classes that are coming soon that haven't been released. This is also something that's fairly new if you haven't found this before, a series. We're getting so many classes, sometimes people are saying that they're not sure what class to take next. So this is where we're breaking things into a series. So if you're interested in iCloud and other cloud-related services, you can take a look at this series, and it tells you the classes you should take and kind of what the order should be. All about the cloud is an introductory class, and then we've got cloud services for all the major vendors as well. So that's what the series are. You can also search by class name. So if I'm looking for other iPhone classes, I could type iPhone here, and it shows me the different iPhone classes. So if I'm looking for that iPhone tips and tricks class, it's going to be June 3rd at 9:30 Eastern. The other thing you can do is if you have a guide or several guides that you like their classes and you want to see what they're going to be teaching for the next couple of weeks, just put in their name and it will show you their classes in chronological order. And that one didn't work, right? And I'm not sure. Oh, I do know why.
Yeah, huh?
It's not, this needs to be in all classes. When you click around like I do, you get yourself in trouble. Let's try that again. Thought those were good classes, but I didn't teach them. Okay, these are the classes that I'm teaching. And indeed, I am teaching Introduction to Smart Homes at 6:30 Eastern Time. That's my last class today. So but it goes through chronologically the classes that guide is teaching. If you find a class you're interested in, you can just click on that class to register for it. Okay, I do want to thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed the class and learned a few new things about your iPhone, and hope you have a wonderful afternoon and evening. Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you again soon.
You have a good birthday tomorrow.
Oh, you found that out.
I saw that, yes.
Okay.
From one birthday to another.
Thank you so much.
All right.
My husband's birthday is Friday. So you are a Gemini.
I am indeed.
Like my husband.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Gemini's just, thanks.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.